Guys, please check your audio and video settings, please, everyone. Sorry for the late, guys. File, open. Here is Spring, guys, 715. Spring 715. Where is that? Spring Cloud MS. Spring Cloud MS. February 24th. 21st. API Gateway. Okay, I'll tell you one simple statement about this one, guys. I'll tell one simple statement about. We have a lot of microservices as a separate projects. Every microservice is having its own URL. Say something was. Every microservice is having its own URL. But though there are so many microservices, all of them belongs to same project. Yes or no? No. But remembering multiple URLs of multiple microservices is very difficult or is really difficult or not? I want reply, boss. Is really difficult or not? Okay, you take the example. You take the problem statement in the form of example. Flipkart, inventory management, separate microservice. Billing, separate microservice. Payment, separate microservice. Okay, shopping cart, separate microservice. Every microservice is having its own URL. Remembering these many URLs is very difficult. Right now, boss? There should be common global URL, okay, from where I can start using all these microservices are now, boss. For that purpose, we have to think about using API gateway. For that purpose, we have to think about using API gateway. Convinced, boss? That's the main goal, boss. That's the main goal. Okay. For that purpose, we should start working with API gateway. Listen, different microservice of project run on different port numbers, having different URLs. It is practically impossible to remember all those port numbers and URLs separately. So we need a single entry and exit point having unique URL for all the microservices of the application or project. Okay, that is called API gateway. That is called API gateway. Understanding my statement, guys? API gateway provides access single entry and exit point for the application for all the microservices of the application. Can perform authentication and authorization. Array, there we configure authentication and authorization. Provides filters for data. Provides filters for data request logging, boss. By using the support of filters, we can gather a lot of information about the request. We can gather a lot of information about the request, guys. To find out flow related to request response and errors. Next, guys, dynamic routing to instances of microservice. This internally uses what you know, ribbon client code, guys. That means ribbon client code. So that means it is having one client component, boss. So it will send each request to appropriate instance, boss. It will send each request to appropriate instance. Okay. API gateway also a kind of microservice which is able to call other microservices of the application or project using Eureka server. API gateway itself on microservice, Rababu. API gateway itself one microservice. Are you getting my point? So that it can be used to call other microservice or other project of the Eureka server, which are registered in Eureka server. Okay, see, these are the various things that API gateway can do. One is what? Acts as a single entry and exit point for all other microservices. Can perform authentication and authorization. Provides filters for data request logging. To find out flow related to request response error. Dynamic routing to the instance of microservice. Internally uses ribbon client code, proxy client code for this. API gateway is also one kind of microservice which is able to call other microservices of the application or project using Eureka server. Yeah, these many things, Babu, these many things. It's like a common entry point and exit point. Instead of writing security in every microservice, write once for what? API gateway level, it will be applied for everything. Yes, na boss. Instead of gathering request related information by going to each microservice, anyhow, it will trap all requests and responses, right, boss? You write filters there. Here you can gather the information about the request. Okay. Instead of performing load balancing everywhere separately in every consumer MS, okay, what you can do, guys? If API gateway itself having what? Load balance, what is that? Load balancer kind of environment. It itself can decide which request should go to which place. Okay, now people ask me question. What is the difference between Eureka server and API gateway? Eureka server just maintains the information about other microservices because we register them. As part of communication, we get the information from Eureka server and we go for communication. Understanding my statement? So Eureka server is not doing communication. Eureka server is having information. Communication is happening because of client component that consumer MS is providing. It's not boss, like Fin client, load balancer client. Come on. Super. Eureka server is for registering microservice and for finding microservice. Eureka server itself cannot communicate with other microservice in any angle. One MS gets details of other MS from Eureka server using one or other client code like LBC, Fin client, and etc. And later uses REST template support to make HTTP call from one microservice to another microservice. Everyone understanding my statement, guys? Everyone, please understand, guys. Come on. Conclusion. Eureka server cannot communicate with our microservice and cannot make HTTP calls to interact with any microservice. It is just there to register details of one microservice. So other microservice can use one or other client code to find out the details about microservice and to interact with other that microservice, which is nothing but destination client. Yes or no, boss? Everyone understanding my statement? Okay. So don't compare API gateway and Eureka server, right, boss? Eureka server is just having information about microservices. API gateway is what? Doing with these many things. Traps all requests and responses. Provides single URL to access all the microservices of the project. Allows to enable security. Allows to apply filters, right? Allows us to apply filters. Understanding my statement? So both are different, guys. What is API gateway? What is the use of it? It provides single entry and exit point for all microservices of the application or project. It itself acts as a microservice having ability to take HTTP requests from client and communicate with other microservices using HTTP calls through Eureka server by generating ribbon client code as the proxy code. So indirectly, it is also having fin client, boss. Indirectly, it is also having fin client. Very interesting diagram. Everyone, please focus. Okay, now listen. I have billing microservice 3 instances. Instance 1, instance 2, instance 3. Its own IP address and machine port number. Its own IP address and 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 port number. Clear, guys? Got the clarity, boss? Come on. Super. Instance of billing microservice. Billing service global path. Billing is the request path of the certain method. Instance of payments microservice, guys. 3 different microservice instances running on 3 different port numbers. Okay. Payment service is global path. Payment is the request path of certain method. Okay. This part is clear now, boss? This part is clear, everyone? We have multiple instance of each microservice. As of now, for explanation purpose, two microservice instances I am taking. Each instance is running separate IP address, having separate port number. Cool. Okay. Super. Now listen. All these instances will be resisted where, guys? In Eureka server now, boss? All these instances. Tell me, how many instances are there total? 6 instances are registered in this. Service ID, array, project, what is that? Application name itself becomes service ID. Three service IDs of billing MS, 3 service IDs of payment MS. 3 instance IDs here, 3 payment instance IDs. IP address, port number. IP address, port number. Any confusion on Eureka server, guys? Everything about Eureka server is clear? Everything about Eureka server is clear? Super. Now listen, API gateway. API gateway. Joule is there, but other options also there, guys. Joule is there. Now we have Spring Cloud Gateway has come. Spring Cloud Gateway has come. In old version, Joule is there. Come on. So we have one or other. Okay. Joule or Spring Cloud Gateway. Cloud gateway. Super boss. Everyone getting my point there, guys? Everyone understanding my statement, guys? Come on. Now listen. API gateway, Joomla cloud gateway, it's running on its own IP address and port number. Okay. Next. This is the global URL, guys. This is the global URL. Flipkart/star. Flipkart/star. Are you understanding my statement? Linked with billing MS. Why, sir? Billing MS will interact with payment MS. So there is no need of giving payment MS here. If I can talk with billing MS, anyhow billing MS talks with what? Payment MS, right? Listen, in API gateway, there is no need of giving link with all the microservices. Why you know? Why you know? Tell me. Because if we can talk with one microservice, anyhow that will talk with another microservice. That will talk with another microservice. So global path should be mapped with what? Initial entry level microservice. Initial entry level microservice. Come on, guys. In Flipkart.com, guys. In Flipkart.com, once you log in, you will get a home page. Okay. There you select the items. That means shopping service is going on. After that, you go for billing. Then you will add them to cart. Shopping cart service is activated. From there, we'll go for billing. Billing service is activated. After billing, we go for what? Payment. Payment service is activated. So all the services are activated initially in a sequence or not. Okay. So while providing global URL, I should provide my global URL pointing to what? Home page. Pointing to home page or pointing to shopping service. From there, remaining microservices anyhow will invoke in a sequential manner or not. Anyhow will be invoked in sequential manner or not. Anyhow will be invoked in sequential manner or not. I want reply, boss. Anyhow will be invoked in sequential manner or not. I want reply, boss. Yeah, now listen. Listen. Here global URI, common URI is mapped with building MS. Is mapped with building MS. Okay, guys. Here is the client application, desktop application or browser or mobile application. Either desktop application or browser or mobile application or other web application. It can be other web application also. It can be other web application also, my dear. It can be other web application. Super. Dot. Yeah, boss. Number one, URL to send the request. either from desktop application. Somehow we send a request, guys. What is there in this one? What we are going to use? Flipkart/star we are going to use. See guys, URL in client application, HTTP, Joule port number, Joule server, Joule gateway port number, gateway mission port number and IP address, Flipkart /billing service /billing service and /billing. Check it out. This is the IP address, this is port number. This is IP address, this is port number. /Flipkart. Star is there. Star is there. So because of this, API gateway will trap and take the request now, boss. Come on, guys. In the place of star, anything can be there. In the place of star, anything can be there. Are you understanding my statement? Okay, Flipkart matching. I have given IP address and port number correctly. So the Joule one, API gateway is also microservice, and a given request URL is matching with the URL of what API gateway. It will trap the request or not. So URL to send the request. That is number one. Number two. Come on, guys. Request goes to API gateway. Number three. It is matching the URL, guys. Matching the URL. Matching the URL. These two things are matching is happening now, boss. Number four. What is this? First matching the URL. Number four. Selecting the microservice that is linked, guys. For this URL, which microservice is linked, guys? For this URL, which microservice is linked, guys? Billing MS is linked, right? By using fin client mechanism, it will generate client code dynamically. Come on, guys. Okay, now this one. That client code contacts the Eureka server and checks, is there any billing MS instance which is having less load balance? Less load. Somehow it found that. Number 7, that instance reference has come here. That is number 8. On using that reference, it will give request to second service business method. By generating HTTP call. That is number 9. Number 10, that logic will execute. If needed, it will interact with payment MS. If needed, it will interact with what? Other microservices. Right now, boss? If needed, it interacts with other microservices. If needed, it interacts with other microservices. If needed, it interacts with other microservices, guys. That is number 10. Number 9, number 10. Number 11, the result of this microservice will come. The result of microservice will come to API gateway. Number 12, the result will go to client application. Is it not interesting, Babu? I think, are you not feeling API gateway is entry point for all requests and responses? API gateway is acting as entry point for all requests and responses. Are you feeling it or not? Point number 1 to understand. Everyone getting my point there, guys? It's simple configuration, or we need to write controller for it. No, it's all about adding jars, adding entries in application.properties. It's all about adding jars, adding entries in application.properties. That's it. No need of writing any controller here. No need of writing any controller here. It's all about just jars and configuration. Jars and configuration. Okay, guys. Now listen once again. Client application, mobile application or browser or desktop application or web application generates the URL having common URL. Sends the request. Sends the request, guys. Sends the request, guys. After that, what happened? Okay. Based on Flipkart.star. Okay. Incoming request URL also having Flipkart. Here also Flipkart. Okay. Request URL is matched, boss. Super. Okay. Since I linked what with billing MS for this URL. So it will select the microservice. Select the microservice. Next. Number 5. It will generate dynamic code. It will generate dynamic code to contact the Eureka server and to select one instance with loss balance and to bring that instance reference back to API gateway. API gateway internally makes HTTP call through this client code to a specific microservice. Their business method with the request path will execute. Their business method with the request path will execute. Come on, guys. Next, number 11. Number 11. Number 11. The result will come back, boss. The result will come back to API gateway. Okay. That result will be passed to client application. Lastly, that result will be passed to client application. Got it? I think everyone clear on this, guys? Fin client internally uses ribbon client only, na? Load balancer client is interface. Ribbon load balancer client is the implementation class, right? Ribbon load balancer client is implementation class. Okay. Yeah, this is the URL, guys. HTTP Joule IP address, port number, Joule path. This is global path. And microservice global path, microservice method path or request path. Okay, because of up to Flipkart, API gateway will trap the request. By seeing this one, it will send the request to specific microservice. It will send the request to specific microservice. Listen, Joule API gateway is also one microservice. So register with Eureka. So register with Eureka. Super. Joule generates client code to interact with Eureka server dynamically as in-memory proxy class in the form of ribbon client. As in-memory proxy class in the form of ribbon client. Ribbon client means okay. Fin client only, Ravahu, fin client only. Yes, right? Why I'm not using the word fin, for fin, at least you have to give interface with abstract method. Here that is also not required. Here that is also not required. That's why. Next, Joule interacts with Eureka server with dynamic client code to get less load factor instance. Less load factor instance. Load balancers. The dynamically generated client code in Joule makes HTTP request to communicate with MS whose instance is gathered from Eureka server, later sends received output to client as a response. Later sends received output to client as a response, guys. Okay. With respect to the diagram, number one, end user gives URL to client application or browser to send the request. That is number one. Number two, the URL based generated request goes to Joule API gateway. That is number two. Number three, Joule matches or compare current request URL with common paths or Joule paths that are maintained by linking with service IDs that are maintained. This will match, guys. Here Flipkart is there. Here also Flipkart is there. Third time I am giving flow. You should not say I don't understand. Okay. Selects one service ID based on the matching Joule path or common path. This one, guys. It will select one thing. It will select one thing. Billing MS. Okay, guys. Generates a dynamic client code as in-memory class ribbon code, guys. This code generation. Client code generation, Rabab. 678. This ribbon client code contacts the Eureka server and gets less load factor instance ID. Less load factor instance ID of matching MS. Less load factor instance ID of matching MS. Super, guys. Number 9. Ribbon client generates HTTP call to interact with received instance ID. To interact with what? Received instance ID. Based MS instance. Okay. This is HTTP call to interact with this one, boss. Number 10 and 11. Based on global path and method path of URL, the method in MS instance will execute and generates the generated result. And the generated result comes back to ribbon client. Or this client code. Ribbon code of ribbon client of API gateway. Super, guys. Ribbon client sends the results to client application or browser as a response. Client application or browser as a response, guys. This is number 2. Clear, guys? Okay. Tell me, guys. Other API gateways of Spring Cloud. Other API gateways of Spring Cloud. Spring Cloud API gateways list. Spring Cloud API gateways list, boss. Okay. Spring Cloud API gateways list. Other projects wants payment gateway directly. No, other projects want means what do you mean by that? Other project wants means what? No, other project will have other API gateway now, boss. And other project also wants to use payment gateway through one or other microservice. So in that microservice, client code will be there. In that microservice, client code will be there, right? If you include the starter, but you don't want to gateway to enable, spring.cloud.gateway.enabled false. Okay. It works. No, this is talking about Spring Cloud Gateway, boss. This talks about Spring Cloud Gateway. Spring Cloud Gateway. Right. But this is related to Spring Cloud Gateway, but I want to get the list, boss. Spring Cloud Gateway. Spring Cloud Gateway. API Gateway with Spring Cloud. Spring Cloud Gateway, this project provides API Gateway on the top of this ecosystem, Spring 5, Spring Boot 2, Project Reactor. Spring Cloud aims to provide simple on this one. I want to get the list, guys. List of API gateways, list of API gateways. We have multiple things, guys. Top 10 API gateway tools. Super. We need this information. Yeah. See, Kong Gateway OSS. Kong Gateway OSS. Next, TYK is there. Kraken D, Gravity.io platform, Glue Edge, Goku API Gateway, WSO2 API Gateway, Fuzio API Gateway, API Man, API Umbrella. But unfortunately, listen, these are no way related to Spring Cloud environment. These are related to AWS. Real cloud is there, na? Real cloud environment. Real cloud environment is there, na? These are AWS related cloud environments. Okay, it is written in Lua programming, supports hybrid multi-cloud infrastructure, optimized for microservice and distributed architecture. Okay, guys, cloud native, cloud environment. But I'm talking about what microservice architecture related gateway was. Okay, 1 minute. But these are nice, boss. These are cloud infrastructure related gateways, cloud infrastructure related gateways, but we are going for this. Okay, now listen. Alternates for ChatGPT information is not correct. Don't go for it. No, ChatGPT information is not perfect, please. Alternate for, what is that? Netflix Joule. Alternates for Netflix Joule. What are the best alternates for Netflix Joule? These are the things, guys. API GI, Eureka, Kong, Proxy, and what is that? LSTIO, the most popular alternates for competitors to Joule. Okay, what is Joule and what is its top alternate? Is it the front door for all requests from devices, websites to the backend? Netflix streaming application. Netflix is using this one, Robo. Okay, guys. Someone is confirming. Check it out. API-G. Some companies will be using Kong. Some companies will be using Joule, Netflix Joule. Netflix is still using Joule only, Netflix Joule only. Netflix company is still using Netflix Joule only, right? Okay, Satya is confirming. Okay, they have used API Joule. API Joule, API GI. Can I give that list, guys? API G, Eureka, API G, Eureka, next one. Hey, Eureka is different for us, right? Eureka better not to write. Eureka better not to use this. What is that? Kong, HA proxy, LSTIO. Kong is also popular, guys. HA proxy, next one. LSTIO. Next to Spring Cloud Gateway. Name itself Spring Cloud Gateway. Are you getting my point? Name itself Spring Cloud Gateway. We have IBM Gateway also, guys. And etc. boss. Name itself Spring Cloud Gateway. Name itself Spring Cloud Gateway. Okay. From ISTIO, na? It is ISTIO. ISTIO. ISTIO, guys. Other APIs, gateways of Spring-based microservices. Spring-based microservices. Spring, other the statement. Spring-based microservice. Okay. API gateways list. List for Spring-based microservice application. Microservice applications. Spring-based microservice applications. API Key, Kong, HA proxy, ISTIO, Spring Cloud Gateway, IBM Gateway, and etc. Here I can write the Joule also, now, boss. Netflix Joule. Can I write Netflix Joule here? So Joule, guys. Okay, guys. One important point, guys. Recent versions of Boot and Cloud, Spring Cloud, not giving support for Netflix Joule. Prefer using Spring Cloud Gateway. We'll learn both because we'll be dealing with maintenance projects also now. We'll learn both, guys. Spring Cloud Gateway. So prefer using Spring Cloud Gateway. Yes, now boss. Next, one more point, guys. Okay. In API Gateway that we configure, for microservices. In API gateway that we configure for microservices. Yeah, boss. Okay, services. We can also apply. Tell me, guys. Number one, security. Spring security, right? Next, OAuth feature, guys. OAuth 2.x SSO. What is SSO? Single sign-on feature. To get into every microservice, signing is required. So instead of signing in every microservice, sign in one time and use everywhere. Use those credentials to get into every microservice. Is it not interesting, Rababu? Sign in one time. Okay. Sign in one time and use it everywhere, right? Okay. JWT. But after arrival of OAuth, guys, people stopped thinking about JWT, boss. Okta. Okta also we can apply, but it's a commercial one. We can apply Okta security kind of thing, boss. Next, filters we can apply. Routers we can apply. Next, JWT we can. JSON Web Tokens for security, boss. JWT concepts we can apply and Array, don't think that I am going for something different. Array, acts as a single entry point. Go on. Can perform authentication, authorization, security, provides filters, provides routing. Okay. And also having load balancer or not. Also having its own load balancer, right? Also having its own load balancer. And don't forget every microservice itself, every API gateway itself on microservice. Every API gateway itself on microservice. Got it, guys? Super. First, we'll try to implement Joop, guys. Yeah, okay. AG is confirming. I'm using auth with APIG. We are using auth with APIG. Right? Okay. Okay. First, we'll go with Joule, guys. Then we will see Spring Cloud Gateway. Spring Cloud Gateway, boss. Right, boss? Understood? Okay. So tomorrow onwards, we'll see the implementation of what, guys? Joule API Gateway. No, boss? Joule API Gateway. So basic mapping we will see, guys. What is the best gateway now? Old days Joule, boss. Nowadays Spring Cloud, guys. Best old days. Best was earlier. Okay. Best currently. Best currently. Okay, guys. How to map tables in two different microservices. Okay, Mr. Devi Prasad, if all microservices are using same database software, then no tension now. What is there to map? What is there to map, guys? And moreover, we don't create such situations, we don't create such situations. If different microservices are using different databases, we don't design database in a wrong manner. We don't design microservice in wrong manner. Okay, guys. Okay. Yes, na boss. Right, boss. Thank you. Tomorrow onwards, we'll try to implement API gateway. Yes, Satish Gowda, Spring Cloud API gateway also we are going to learn. Spring Cloud API gateway also we are going to learn. Okay. Nitish, payment gateway, how to implement? We don't have access, Ra Babu. We should have Roser Pay accounts and other lot of infrastructure is required. Lot of infrastructure is required. Okay. Rahul Kumar, go to Naresh IT website. Just look for Angular or React batches. Naresh IT website. Thank you.